And good day, everybody, and welcome to the professors from McMurry University. I'm Paul Fabrizio.
And I'm Don Frazier, and I'm here with the very dapper Sam Ferguson.
Dapper indeed. And Sam Ferguson is the athletic director at McMurry University, so it's a delight to have you here.
Man, I'm pleased to be here. Thank you all for having me. And I've seen your list of distinguished guests, and got some big shoes to fill over here. I know that.
You know, I've got one question just rolling into this.
Okay.
What's an athletic director?
That was my question.
Sorry.
Yeah. And my second question then would be, how does one decide to be one?
Yeah, how do you get from being like
Whatever.
a student at McMurray to becoming an athletic director? So let's go with the first one because that's always been a little hazy to me.
It's been a little hazy. Okay, so I see my job as finding the resources for our coaches to be successful and giving a great experience for our scholar athletes. That's
So all athletics, you direct them all. So from golf to women's soccer to football.
20 sports here at McMurry. Yes, sir.
Dang, that makes you a lion tamer and cat herder all at the same time, doesn't it?
437 scholar athletes last year. We're
Good night.
waiting on the numbers for this year. 70% of our incoming freshman class, scholar athletes.
So without the athletic programs at a place like McMurray, enrollment's much lower.
Well, but without the academics,
They've got no reason to come.
Exactly. So it's a great partnership the way I see it.
Okay.
You use an interesting term, scholar athletes. Not many people use that. They always talk about student athletes. Why scholar athletes?
We've got to give Dr. Harper credit for that term. She wanted to emphasize the academic piece of the experience. And as far as I know, she coined the phrase here at McMurray, and it stuck. And I think she's exactly right. We need to focus on the academic portion of it because none of these folks are going pro in their sport.
None?
Well,
are you serious?
Very few of them at the Division III level.
Well, it doesn't matter really at any level. I mean,
Right.
many are called, few are chosen when you're talking about professional anything.
Exactly. And so we really want to emphasize the academic experience they have at McMurray. And our coaches do a really good job of making that the focus.
Okay, let's talk about you and how you decided to be an athletic director. Okay, so did you grow up as a little boy saying, hey, I want to be athletic director, while somebody else, friend wanted to be an astronaut or something like that? Or how does this happen?
Or a head coach.
Or a head coach.
Well, initially I wanted to be a coach. It's very hard to get into coaching, especially if you have a mediocre athletic career like myself.
What did you play?
I was a basketball player and a golfer in college. And I tell people I really didn't play basketball in college. I went to Averett to play basketball. I ended up just practicing a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
You made others look good, is that it?
well, I encouraged others at least, at the very least.
We're all called to be encouraged.
So I wanted to coach initially and just had a hard time getting my foot in the door. Really, I did assist at Averett for 1 year in a volunteer capacity.
Averett.
Averett University in Danville, Virginia, where I earned my
Okay.
undergraduate degree.
Okay.
And decided, okay, I'm just going to go another route. So I did a few other jobs I didn't really enjoy. I called my basketball coach one day just to lament to him about where I was in my life. And and my first question to him was, well, Coach Chandler, what are you doing? He said, well, we just finished interviewing Joe Burkhead for the sports information director position. I said, sports information director?
That's the SID.
That's right. I said, could I do that? He said, I don't know. Can you?
And you said, sure.
He said, would you like to give it a shot? The next day I was on campus interviewing, and 2 days after that I was hired at a whopping $18,000 a year.
Woo.
Good money in this line of work. Very nice.
I'm impressed the fact that you remember the guy who they interviewed.
He was a good friend.
Oh,
He was
okay.
he was in newspaper, and
did he resent your getting the job?
I don't think so. I don't
Okay.
think when he
Not
saw
for that
me-
pay. But so sports information director is the guy that's doing all the news feeding the local media, et cetera, right?
Right, and I didn't do it as well as Dave Byer does it for us here.
Okay.
I can promise you, but I really didn't I got a job that I shouldn't have gotten, quite honestly. But once I landed there, I worked really hard, and um, one thing led to another. Promoted to assistant AD, and then later, uh, my boss was promoted to the vice president for student services, and they didn't do a search. They, being Averett, didn't do a search. Just promoted me, and I got another job I probably didn't deserve. But
and that's where athletic directors come from.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Is that a typical path, or?
I don't think that's a typical path. I was very fortunate. I worked with some really good people who took a lot of time with me and helped me understand the different facets of the business, and I was very fortunate.
Sounds like you had
didn't get here
mentors.
alone. Absolutely. Charles Harris from Averett University. He was the former athletics director at Arizona State,
Oh, wow.
and he was a huge mentor. Penn. He was the athletics director at Penn as well.
Wow.
And then he goes to a small liberal arts school in Danville, Virginia.
Wanted to end his career at a smaller institution.
Was that a D3 school? I don't know anything about it.
D3, yes, sir.
Okay.
And Kirk Chandler, my basketball coach, took up a lot of time with me, and Vesa Hiltunen, the athletic director that hired me as the sports information director, all people that took a huge risk, and I wouldn't be where I am or who I am today without those folks. So I'm grateful for them.
That's cool.
And when did you come to McMurry?
That was April of 2014.
So you've been here a little bit more than 4 years.
I have. It's been fun.
So
Is it like Danville, Virginia?
In a lot of ways, it is. I'll tell you that the community here is really strong. We've been really impressed with the community of Abilene and McMurry.
Okay.
We had those in Virginia as well, but it seems like Abilene takes it to a new level. The faith in this town is much larger or greater than
It's everywhere.
yeah this, and I've heard of prayers in public schools in this area, which that would not happen. No.
This is going to be widely distributed, man.
Yeah.
We don't want the secret to get out. Yeah, I've actually heard people say the word Bible in public places here. It's very odd.
So it was a good fit for my wife and I, and we're loving it. My wife lived in Danville, Virginia for her entire life until I loaded her up in the Subaru Outback, and we drove 1,300 miles west. And
It's a
I
haul.
remember her mom gave me quite the look when she hugged her daughter for the last time before we moved to Texas. But it's been a great fit for us. We love Abilene, we love McMurray, and
Where are you native to?
Virginia.
So around Danville, or?
Well, Chase City, Virginia. It's 60 miles east of Danville.
Oh, okay. So down there in Southern Virginia.
Right, and I'm impressed with you because I asked you a question about Danville. What made it? What brought it its fame? And
Yeah, last capital of the Confederacy. Until they cut the Danville Railroad, and then all of a sudden, who cares?
yeah,
Yeah, I know a lot about that Southern Virginia stuff.
how long did it last as the capital
A couple of days.
of? Okay.
Yeah, it was not a real big thing.
But somebody had to do
You
it
gotta go
someplace.
somewhere.
to us it was a big deal.
Yeah, you got to go somewhere when Richmond falls. You go to Danville,
Danville.
because the railroad still
Yeah.
works. Anyhow,
Very good. So you came here a little bit more than 4 years ago. And tell us, we've got about 2 minutes left before we take a break. How does an athletic director spend your day? I mean, do you go to sporting events all day? I mean, do you watch practices? I mean, what do you do?
We do all of that. I go to sporting events. I try not to miss a home event. It's important for me to let our scholar athletes know that we care and we support them, and your presence speaks loudly to that. So I try to make all the home events. I try to make road events. I come into the office every day with the best of intentions, with this checklist of things to do, and invariably a fire pops up. And
oh boy, I bet that's a fact.
and we spend our time dealing with just issues that come up with 18 to 22-year-olds. When you've got 437 of them, fires pop up.
Yeah.
So do you act as a dean of students to them in essence?
Perhaps that'd be a good way to characterize it, I would say. I really let our coaches deal with their issues mostly, but I'm just informed with those. And when it gets really serious, that's when I want to play a larger role in one of those fires we talked about. But
Man,
I, a lot of my time is also spent reaching out to donors, writing thank you notes,
I bet that's true
writing
too.
solicitations, just talking to our coaches and hearing them out, learning about what they need to be successful, and then trying to put them in a position to be successful. We want them to have as big a stick as anyone else in our
Sure,
league.
sure. And so that involves going and finding those resources. I mean, you got to bring them the beans and the bullets, as they say.
I'm sure you don't use those words, beans and bullets, when you're going about your
Military
job.
historian, man.
Yeah.
Those are my metaphors. You can use sports metaphors if you'd like. Mine are going to be military.
Yeah. Okay. All right. We've got about 14 seconds left. So we just want to say you've been here for 4 years at
4 years.
McMurry, and we want to have a further conversation with you. Want to talk about the NCAA and other aspects of your job as you develop students. We're out of here.
Welcome to State House Press, a nonprofit publisher of quality books. State House Press and the McMurry Foundation Press are part of the Texas A&M University Press Consortium, which handles retail distribution for several small but distinguished publishers. Our entire list of offerings, with pictures, summaries, prices, and easy online ordering, is available in our section of the consortium website. State House Press is proud of its reputation for high standards of scholarship and readability. In addition to this, we at State House Press have recruited the talents of individuals such as Phil Collins on his book, The Alamo and Beyond. We release not only texana by contemporary authors, but reprints of classic accounts of Texas life and history otherwise inaccessible to the public. Our book list also incorporates the publications of the McMurry Foundation Press, specializing in the history of the Old South and the Civil War. We strive with our titles to make history accessible to as many readers as possible. To accomplish this task, we have recruited some of America's leading historians, as well as bright new scholars. We believe firmly in narrative history, in telling a good story, and in telling it well, without losing sight of the people who've made history and the events that changed a nation.
For questions or business inquiries, please visit the Texas Book Consortium at www.tamupress.com.
This portion of the show is reserved for advertisements. If you are interested in filling this portion with ads for your business, please call 325-793-4686 or email director@tfhcc.com. This portion of the show is reserved for advertisements. If you are interested in filling this portion with ads for your business, please call 325-793-4686 or email director@tfhcc.com. This portion of the show is reserved for advertisements. If you are interested in filling this portion with ads for your business, please call 325-793-4686 or email director@tfhcc.com.
And we're back, and this is Paul Fabrizio.
I'm Don Frazier, and we've got Sam Ferguson with us.
That's right.
A native of Southern Virginia.
That's right. And he, of course, is the athletic director at McMurry University. And you were talking before the break about our athletes not going pro. And you said that's Division III. Do our students, our scholar athletes, realize they're not going pro? Is that something that you share with them? And why is it that they don't go pro?
Well, not to say that they can't go pro, but I can't name other than Pierre Garcon, a Division III athlete. I know they're out there. I know Mary Hardin Baylor has had professional athletes come through their program as well, but that's not our goal. I'm sure if you're good enough, they'll find you wherever you are. So it's not when you make the decision to come to McMurry, you're not giving up a pro dream, but that's not our focus. Our focus is not to work you out and prepare you for a professional career. Our focus is to develop champions for life. And we do that by creating an environment where they can be successful. They being our scholar athletes, they can be successful in the classroom, in the community, and in competition. And we want to win. We've got scoreboards at all of our facilities. As long as we have those, we want to put a higher number on our side than our opponents put on theirs, except in golf.
Yeah, that's what the
But if we're being realistic, if you want to be successful out of McMurry, then you're going to be successful because of the diploma, or the degree, I should say, that you have earned. And our rules as a Division III institution are set up to enhance one's ability to be successful academically.
Okay, what do you mean by that? That's a loaded sentence there. The rules are set up to be successful academically. So what does that mean?
Well, it means that our playing seasons are not as long as the Division I.
Sure.
It means that the coaches have access to our scholar athletes fewer hours than at the Division I level. It's a limit on what we do from a playing season standpoint.
So there's less practice time and less playing time.
Less travel.
Less travel at Division III.
It is.
So could you explain for us the different divisions of the NCAA? And even deeper, what in the world is the NCAA?
Yeah, let's start there and then go with the divisions of the NCAA.
Okay, the NCAA is the National Collegiate Athletic Association, and they are the governing body of college athletics. One portion of it. There's also the NAIA, but NCAA is the largest association.
Now, that's a big nonprofit, theoretically.
It is. It is, with a
nonprofit.
multi-billion-dollar contract with CBS.
Yeah.
But it's nonprofit.
Yeah.
Well, there's no owners, no stockholders. So,
and the three divisions, Division I, II, and III, Division I and II, they both offer scholarships. I don't know the specifics, but there's one level of scholarshiping at Division I. There are fewer at the Division II level, and then Division III is non-scholarship and more of it's more of an opportunity for scholar athletes involved in intercollegiate athletics to get involved in other areas of campus life. It's designed for a more well-rounded experience.
As you go up the divisions, you have more playing time, more practice time. Is that correct?
I've never worked at the Division I or the Division II level, so I can't speak to it from experience, but hypothetically, yes. It's the Division III philosophy is we offer our scholar athletes an opportunity to be successful in other areas of the campus.
So this
social clubs,
they can go be in a musical if they want to.
They can.
Okay.
They can. We see our scholar athletes. We see them in chanters every year. Symphony Munoz. I know you all know who Symphony Munoz is.
Mm-hmm.
Rock star tennis player. She was also a rock star scholar on our campus.
Yeah.
She was involved in the band, social clubs. Also a really, really good tennis player as well.
Wow.
I don't know for a fact. I'm sure it happens at the other levels. This is nothing against the other levels, but I think our level is designed in such a way that one is more likely to have time to be involved in other areas of campus.
Well, there's big money in Division I football, for instance. I mean, to
and
me,
basketball.
Yeah, I mean, it just looks to me like it's professional sport
In the minor leagues.
I don't even think in some cases it's minor leagues. Have you seen the Cleveland Browns? I mean,
and Alabama, yes, and Clemson, yes.
Yeah, I think Alabama could beat Cleveland.
Now, I don't want to take anything away from the other divisions. There's a place for them, and their student athletes, they get experiences and degrees as well. They have their place, they have their philosophy. Ours is just different. Not better, just different.
Now, you said no scholarships. You're talking about athletic scholarships, correct?
Athletic scholarships.
So a coach can't go out and recruit a player to come to McMurry and say, hey, you're going to get a football scholarship. That just won't happen. But they can get a music scholarship. They can get an academic scholarship.
Right. The rule states that our scholar athletes have to get the same type of funding as any other traditional student that's entering the university. So we have to forget about the fact that they play football. We have to forget about the fact that they play basketball or run track when they come to McMurry when it comes to aiding, assigning financial aid, and even when it comes to acceptance. Dave Herringer and his staff, Tim Sechrist and his staff, they cannot consider playing ability one bit when they're accepting or packaging a student athlete, scholar athlete, because
Packaging, you're talking about financial aid.
packaging, right?
And so, I mean, we're looking for smart athletes then, so that we can put an academic scholarship on them.
We are. And if you look at Division III, the schools that win national championships, Amherst, WashU, Emory, a lot of the really, really high academic institutions do really well at the Division III level.
Yeah, it's like Johns Hopkins is a D3 school.
Yeah, but I my graduate degree was from Emory.
And it was a D3 school.
It was a D3 school with, several $1 million in endowment. And McMurry's a small school. Why are we in the same division? They have so much more money than we have.
Yeah, but they can't do it for scholarshiping.
True.
Yeah. Well, you've got University of Texas as a Division I institution, and you have Tulsa as a Division I institution.
Or Abilene Christian University is a
Yeah.
Division I school.
So
Now, isn't there a AA and AAA and different flavors of Division I?
Division I football has FBS bowl series and then the championship series. So it's basically 1A and AA as we used to know it.
Okay.
But it's not about institutional size. It's not about endowment. It's about philosophy.
Isn't Butler about the size of McMurray? Maybe a little larger?
No, Butler's bigger.
Okay. But it's a Division I.
It's
Tulsa-
in basketball.
Tulsa, and in all sports, Butler is it. Tulsa is the smallest FBS Division 1A institution in the country.
Wow.
Okay.
But they're expected to compete against University of Texas, and so it's no difference when you think about us and
Okay.
Emory.
So it's all about philosophy more than anything else.
Correct.
Okay, we're going to take another break then, and we're going to continue talking about this.
Yeah, this is fascinating stuff I know nothing about.
We're learning a lot. We'll be back.
History has become one of the most fought-over battlegrounds in terms of shifting people's views and opinions about their country. In response to this, we have decided to launch a website called Go To History that will become your home for clear-eyed history content. Our objective is to put history out there, free of agendas, and allow you, the viewers, to decide what you believe and decide how to interpret this information. With experienced professors such as Dr. Don Frazier and Dr. Stephen Harden teaching courses and creating agenda-free content for students and just plain history enthusiasts, the content of Go To History is vastly informative and unbiased.
History people, it's Phil Collins here. I am just giving a shout out to a couple of guys that you're going to be hearing from. And they're good friends of mine, but they're also incredibly knowledgeable historians. Dr. Donald Frazier and Dr. Stephen Harden. Both great friends of mine, both helped me out with my book on the Alamo. And two guys, if you don't know much about history, these are the first two guys you should go to. Okay, what they don't know isn't worth knowing. Don Frazier, Steve Harden, I hope you enjoy their presentations.
My name is Evan Williams, a history major at McMurry University, and I love the layout of the Go To website. I mean, it is singularly built from the ground up with user convenience in mind. Every study available is within a single courses tab, with each lesson having a single page for each of its individual videos, text, visuals, and quizzes, all at easy grasp. This is most definitely history made simple.
Please log on to www.gotohistory.com.
And we're back, and I'm Paul Fabrizio.
I'm Don Frazier, the
And-
diminutive Don Frazier.
It's a diminutive Don Frazier. And we're the professors here at McMurry University, and we're talking with Sam Ferguson, the athletic director at McMurry University. We're delighted he's here.
Glad to be here. Thank you all for having me.
Yeah.
I was thinking, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but
No,
I was
please.
looking at your former guests, Gary Shanafelt, Dr. Harden, Dr. Jessica Walker, talking about Mary Tudor.
Yeah.
I mean, glad to be here.
I'm-
That's quite a group.
Look, they couldn't talk about Division III athletics with any sort of, authority. So
Yeah, and one of the things is
we
that I
all
think-
have our gifts.
Yeah. One of the things I think we want to emphasize is that a university has a lot of different parts to it.
Yeah.
So we're going to be talking soon with someone from student engagement.
Yeah, somebody can talk about what was Jory Seacrest talking about on here. She was talking about families and different family structures and middle child, oldest child.
Sociology.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we're talking sociology one day. We're talking about DNA another day. The planets, D3 athletics. That's what makes a university a cool place to work, because you can have a lot of different conversations with a lot of different people from all over the planet. Cali boy, Virginia fellow. We got both coasts right here.
Texan,
Smack-
Texian.
Texian, right smack dab in the middle. So hey man, that's what's cool. That's what's cool about a place like McMurray. I mean,
Right.
it's a small community and we all know each other and we have to interact with each other. So it's good that we all get along.
Yeah. I mean, at a big university, you don't have this kind of opportunity. So
Well, I'm grateful to be here.
Well, you might have a better studio,
that's possible.
but you wouldn't have the likes of us in there. Anyhow, so we're talking about D3 athletics and differentiating it from Division I, Division II. Tell me about some of the the surprises that you ran into coming into Division III athletics, and especially in McMurray. Some of the sort of great success stories, some of the challenges.
Well, one of the surprises for me is the extent of the travel. When I was at Averett in Virginia, we had so many opponents right in our backyard.
Yeah,
a
smack dab.
3-hour trip was a long trip for us.
Wow.
It was an overnighter. We stay 3 hours. We got to stay overnight.
Here
three-
in West Texas.
3 hours in West Texas, you do that before lunch.
Yeah, I was about to say that's called a lunch appointment in Fort Worth for us. So.
Yeah, and so that was a surprise for me. The donor response, the generosity in Abilene and McMurray has been incredible. The response we get from our alumni and our supporters is just tremendous and offers us opportunities to really enhance the experience of our scholar athletes. And at Averett, we were a newer athletics program.
Okay.
It was born in 1976. So our alumni hadn't made their millions yet.
Sure. hadn't hit their lick.
They
as
had not
say.
yet, and they're starting to see some good things now, and the new president there, Tiffany Franks, has done a nice job of cultivating some of those relationships. But when I get here, I was just overwhelmed by the generosity of alumni, people that want to see us do well and want to play a role in developing champions for life, making sure scholar athletes have the opportunity to earn a degree while doing something they love.
Okay.
Now, I want to look at this from the perspective of a parent who has a high school kid who's interested in athletics. How much time, if they were to come to McMurray, would they spend in practice in their sport? Is there about an average?
I think it varies from sport to sport. I would say that 2 hours a day, roughly, for 6
Okay.
days is practice, minus the days that we have competition. Now, what complicates things is when our team has to travel from Abilene to Belhaven for a conference game.
Okay,
that's
Belhaven is
Jackson,
where.
Jackson, Mississippi, and that would create a long week for us from time to time. But in general, 2-hour practices and a couple games a week if you're a soccer player, 1 game a week if you're a football player, up to 3 or 4 games a week if you're a baseball or softball player. I would say within 20 hours a week, we'd minus the travel in those long trips is basically what you can count on from as far as a commitment from our scholar athletes. And in a lot of cases, much less than that.
And the longest trip that's regularly scheduled in our conference would be to Belhaven,
It would be.
which is Jackson, Mississippi, 12 hours away or so.
Correct.
Well, Texas is famous for having miles and miles of miles and miles. Absolutely. So I'm a pretty decent high school athlete, smaller high school. I can come to McMurry, continue my football dream, but man, I'm getting hit, and I'm risking my knees, and I'm risking my joints and my bones and stuff. Still playing football. Why would I do that?
Because we teach important life lessons through sports. Like, as I've said it several times today, I'll say it again. We develop champions for life.
Okay.
You learn skills like teamwork, commitment, perseverance. I think we've all failed. And what's great about sports is when we just lost to Trinity. Okay.
In football.
In football. And I went and talked to Coach Henson, and that night, minutes after, within an hour after the game, he's looking at the film and he's trying to figure out how to learn from that experience.
Sure.
And that's what you get with athletics. That's why it's important. Failure is a part of athletics. It's a part of life. We learn to be we learn to persevere.
To be perseverant.
Perseverant is what I almost said. I almost made up a word for y'all.
No, that's good. I like it. I make up words all the time. So it's interesting too. How many hours do coaches have in front of these kids versus professors?
Well, I don't know that because I'm not sure how much time the professors spend.
48 hours. Is that it?
48 hours in a semester?
Yeah.
48 hours face to face, and that's stretching it.
Yeah.
How many hours do coaches have in front of these kids?
Well, if you've got a 12-hour bus ride to Belhaven,
That's a
if
long
you go there
time.
and back, that's 24.
Yeah, I've often argued that coaches spend more time educating than the professors do at a place like McMurry because just the sheer face time, the exposure to the coaches.
And that's why it's so important to pick the right coach.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we want to make sure they're teaching the right lessons, and we have got a great staff. Think about our women's soccer coach, Charles Nobles. He incorporates a book with his team. They read a book together, and he develops leadership skills.
Well, must be something to it because they're doing pretty well.
They beat Austin College on Friday for the first time in the program's history.
So
you think about Zach Pickleman and our men's basketball program. You see those guys engaged in the community, and there's much more that they're exposing their scholar athletes to than just the sport. Again, they all want to win.
Sure.
They all want to win, but they know that there's a larger mission out there, and I'm thankful that we've got a staff that understands that and is committed to it.
Yeah, because ultimately, I mean, we're talking about transitioning people from childhood to adulthood, and that's kind of a big part of it.
It's a tough time.
It is a tough time.
I'm watching, as an example, Ohio State with their relationship with their football coach, and he was suspended for not reporting sexual abuse, but it seems like he is there to produce winners, and that's it. You're saying that your coaches here at McMurry are there to do more than just win. Is that correct?
Well,
They're producing winners.
Don't mishear me. We want to win.
Well, you want to win.
But you
right.
can do both. You can produce winners on the field and winners in life and winners in society.
Yeah, because think about all those guys that used to be college players that then become pro players, and they're just reprehensible human beings. Somewhere they fell off the track. Some of those guys did, and I wonder if that would have happened at a different sort of approach.
Yeah, I mean, it strikes me as if you're saying, yes, we want to win, but I'm going to evaluate the coaches. When I hire coaches, I'm going to look for other things besides their ability to produce winners.
Right. Winning is a piece of it because winning impacts the experience. Let's face it. If we're getting killed every time we lace it up,
sure,
we're not gonna have a great experience.
I would assume that would hurt recruiting and everything like that.
Right, and it hurts morale, and
That would be some life lessons that you learn repeatedly.
You don't
And
need to
that
run
gets
in that wall
that
every
kind of
day.
gets tedious after a while. Quit hitting yourself. Quit hitting yourself.
but
Yes.
one of my favorite stories is, you know, think about the scholar athlete that shows up at McMurry, who I really don't want to throw any names out there because I don't want to kind of expose them, but they really didn't have a great experience in their home.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Grew up with next to nothing,
Great.
and they come to McMurray, and a coach takes an interest in
Good
him or
coach.
her
Yeah.
and shows them what it means to be successful and how to be successful. And then they walk across the stage in May,
They've got
earn
a
their degree, and change the course.
Their entire trajectory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
For
this is it-
generations, for generations.
for generations. I've often said that a school like ours is transformational in that regard.
And we want our coaches to be transformational.
Very good. All right, we're going to take another break. We'll be back.
Bear Leader Tours. Where will Bear Leader Tours take you? Everywhere. Paris, Bruges, Trier, battlefields, Pearl Harbor, Pacific beaches, New Orleans. Join the adventure.
www.mcwhinney.org.
When you support McWhinney History Education Group, you also support the many young workers who operate and maintain the company's digital operations. These are dedicated university students who handle many things such as filming, recording, and editing content for McWhinney, as well as cultivate the layout and structure of McWhinney's various websites, including its associated channel on YouTube. We are a nonprofit organization that exists from donations from interested persons and history enthusiasts alike. Donations enable our students to obtain a higher education, job training, and career bolstering skills. If you would like to donate, please visit us at www.mcwhinney.org and click on our About Us tab to learn more.
This portion of the show is reserved for advertisements. If you are interested in filling this portion with ads for your business, please call 325-793-4686 or email director@tfhcc.com. This portion of the show is reserved for advertisements. If you are interested in filling this portion with ads for your business, please call 325-793-4686 or email director@tfhcc.com. This portion of the show is reserved for advertisements. If you are interested in filling this portion with ads for your business, please call 325-793-4686 or email director@tfhcc.com.
And we're back, and this is Paul Fabrizio,
I'm Don Frazier, and we've got Sam Ferguson,
the McMurry University Athletic Director.
the AD.
That's right, AD. What a cool name.
Yeah.
I'm
Need something
AD.
else in the history business, but
Some people have called me the DA. I won't tell you what that stands for.
All right, so let's talk about success of students. You know, we've led up to it. Do you have examples of students who you think have found great success here at McMurry?
or as a result of
Or as a
being-
result of
yeah.
McMurry? I have in my mind some students that I've taught who've been through the athletic program, and I am just so impressed with them as they've continued their life journey. And so,
Well, we do have numerous examples of those, but we can't take credit for all of it. I mean, they're in your classes. They are.
Wait a second.
They are.
We have some impact here.
They are impacted by the dean of students and the entire. It takes a village, is what I'm trying to say. It takes a village to create success. But we do have some examples that have participated in athletics. I think of Taylor Russell, comes off the top of my head. She was a women's basketball player for us. She led our team in scoring and in rebounding her senior year. She was also a member of the honors program. She's now in dental school at the University of Texas, and she's got a bright future ahead of her. And if you talk to her, she'll tell you that a coach's influence, the influence of the game, in addition to her McMurry experience, played a huge role in her success. Someone that I know you know well, Thierry Chenko,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
member of our men's basketball team, who stuck with us through some really difficult times. You talk about resilience.
Yeah.
He's as smart as they come.
He was student body president.
He was student body president and created these town halls that really made a difference. One of his town halls led to extended library hours. And so you look at, and now he's in, I'm
Georgetown.
He's at Georgetown.
He's
or no,
graduating. He
Geor-
should have finished Georgetown University Master's in Public Policy,
Dang.
Political Science, and then he's going to be working in Houston for the mayor.
for the mayor.
Yes, and
Is he from Houston?
he's from Houston, and
Yeah.
don't be surprised in a couple of years if he starts running for
Yeah, we're going to
some
see
political office.
we're going to see his name in a yard sign. Yeah.
Whenever I talk to folks, I always bring up Thierry. I always bring up Taylor, and I tell folks that one day you'll be voting for Thierry, or you should be anyway.
Yes, you should be voting for him. He's a good guy.
But if you think about success, we've had 50% of our scholar athletes last fall posted a 3.0 GPA or better for the term,
Wow.
which is very impressive. I'm not sure what's going on in the spring, because every year we fall a little bit in the spring. It was roughly 45%, I believe, last year. But I think that's a testament to the philosophy of our coaches and
I
what's
think
important to them.
I think it's baseball season. I think our baseball players all of a sudden are gone all the time. But I mean, it's just the nature of it.
Do coaches encourage studying? Do they have study halls?
They do. I'd like to think that all of our coaches are involved in study hall. I know on Thursday, we were getting ready for the tailgate party in the quad, and I saw our baseball team walking out of the library. Huge group of them. It must have been all of them, quite honestly.
Yeah, I think it was.
So our coaches are involved in that. We do have systems in place that allow us to track grades and get progress reports, so coaches can intervene.
I love those coaches because that gives us another couple of hooks into each of these students. And so, for instance, I sent an email this very morning.
Oh yeah.
Could you please have a word with this particular athlete who has not made an appearance in my class, although my class roll shows them enrolled? And I could email them, which I have, got no response. But I suspect when the coach emails them, I'll get some action on this particular issue.
There's a certain level of clout that the coaches
Yes.
bring.
And
They
whatever
can make
reason.
him run a lap or something like that, right?
or not play them.
Or not
Or,
play 'em.
you know, because it's more about turning these people into good humans than necessarily saying, all right, we're going to start this player and keep them in there no matter what sort of person they are or what they're doing in class. So it gives you a little leverage. That's all I'm saying. And it's
Yeah.
handy.
Playing time is a huge influencer,
Yes.
for sure.
So, here's for the coaches. Now, we've got other folks that have gone on and done. I mean, we've had some people that are operating at very high professional levels that aren't necessarily on the field. Because we had a deep snapper, Matt Barnes, that came through here not too long ago, that's now a trainer for the Detroit Lions.
Yes, he
Mhm.
is.
And
We feature him on our website.
yeah,
in
that's
our
pretty cool.
alumni spotlights.
Yeah, I fed him at my table.
You fed him at your
I
table.
did. He ate a lot. And then he'd do his homework on my couch. And finally, I'd have to say, good to see you, Matt, but I'm going to bed now. You can continue working at my table, but it's cool that you have those interactions with these kids. And even, I mean, when I was at TCU, I never saw athletes. I mean, I saw them, but I couldn't speak to them.
Yeah, when I was
They
at
weren't in my class.
Yeah, when I was at USC, I saw them as they went off to practice.
Yeah.
And I had one athlete who was a volleyball player, a men's volleyball player in my class. And
Yeah, I
that was
think-
it in my years at USC.
That's it. I mean,
Yeah.
having an athlete in my class was a rarity.
Yeah.
Compare it to now. What about now?
Yeah, 45%, 70% of my classes, I'm in history. So a bunch of these guys want to go be coaches, and they have to have something to teach. And so we tell them pretty much up front, guess what? you're at a D3 school, you're going to be a historian first and then a coach when you get out there. And so they have to do all the same sort of requirements every other history major has to do. I mean, they got to be able to read, write, and think.
Absolutely.
And then that theoretically, and I suspect we could, get at this in a research project and figure out that empirically, coaches that can read, write, and think are probably better coaches.
You need to think critically for sure.
Yeah. One would think.
Now we have a minute and a half left.
Okay.
Final message to the people who are listening and watching from the athletic director about McMurry Athletics. What do you want to say?
Yeah, it's your mic.
It's my mic. Minute and 30 seconds on McMurry Athletics. Well, I would just say that I hope folks will appreciate what it means to be a coach.
Yeah.
And what it means to be a scholar athlete at a school like McMurry. They're not getting any funding because they're good athletes. Our Justice McGowan is getting the same scholarship that a history major would get.
Correct.
But she is doing so much. She's putting in so much effort to represent McMurray, and I think we should appreciate that. I would
a lot of self-discipline with these kids.
Absolutely. There's not. Yesterday, my son missed practice because he didn't tell us what time his practice was, and he expected us to remember that. Well, we've got that here with all of our scholar athletes. They're here and they're on their own. They're independent, and they're committed and they're dedicated.
Yeah.
And not only that, but they're also dedicated to their sport or to the academics as well. If they don't make the grades, they don't get to play. Our coaches, 70% of our incoming class are scholar athletes. They're out there trying to bring students to McMurray. They work tirelessly to do that.
And put them in your class.
That's right.
And my class.
That's right.
We're out of time.
Thanks very much, Sam Ferguson.
All right. Thank you. Sorry.
Class
I
dismissed.
didn't know if you wanted to say class dismissed or not.
Oh.
Class dismissed.